By allowing the presentation, I grant permission for it to be uploaded and shared across various social media platforms and the official website of iCapital Academy and Corporate Advisory LLP. So, good afternoon, sir, and a warm good afternoon to everyone present here. My name is Urvi Mehta, and today I am here to present on the topic Comprehensive Guide to Financial Planning and Wealth Management for Young Investors. The reason I chose this topic is because I truly believe that financial literacy is not just important, it's essential in today's world, especially for the young individual like us. We are entering a phase where managing money wisely can make a huge difference in our future. So, the first question we're asking here is what do you actually do with your money? So, whenever we get money, like from our salary, pocket money, or freelance income, or even a gift, there are basically three things we can do: save it, spend it, or invest it. And the reality is, most of us end up doing all the three things, like some way or the other. But the important thing is how much we spend, save, or invest, and whether those decisions which we make are helping us to move forward in the financial freedom. So let's take a look one by one. Like first is saving. This is when you put aside some of your money in saving account or even a big bank. Just like in the picture, you are not spending it right away, but you are also doing everything to grow. It's just sitting there safely for a short term period, like for the emergency or any other goals. The next is spending. Spending your money is like when you need something or you need some food, clothes, gadget, or experience. Basically, all the things that makes the life comfortable and fun. And the last is investing. Now, this is where most young people kind of pause because it sounds complicated or risky. But investing is actually the smartest way to make your money work for you. Like in this, you plant the money like seeds, and over a time, with the right care and patience, it grows into something bigger. That's invest. You could invest in mutual funds, stocks, schools, real estates, or even your own education. So we ask the question, what do you do with your money? It's not just about what you're doing now, but what you should be doing to create a secure and wealthy future. So now we ask that what do you do with your money? Like we spoke about saving as one of the things with our money, right? Now comes the real. Was is saving enough? Like, is it really enough to just put your money in the bank account and leave it there? Well, the answer is no. So here is the thing. When you save your money, let's say in a regular saving account, it just stays there earning maybe 3 to 4% interest per year. But while your money is sitting, there is something else happening and that's inflation. Now, inflation is basically the rise in price of goods and services over time. Like imagine this. If a chocolate bar costs 50 today and due to inflation it costs 55 next year, your 50 rupees from the last year lost a bit of its value. And that's what we mean when we say inflation eats up your savings. Just take a look at this apple in the picture. It represents your saving, and that bite taken out of it, that's inflation, slowly eating away at your purchasing power. You might be thinking, you might be thinking that keeping your money safe, but in reality, the value of that money is going down silently. Let me give you a small example. Like you save 10,000 rupees in a bank account for a year and your interest rate is 4%. So by the end of the year, you have 10,400. It sounds good, right? Like you have gained 4,000 rupees. But inflation during that year, same year, was 6%. Then technically the real value of your money has gone down. Even though your account shows 10,400, what you can actually buy with that money is less than this. So yes, the problem with just saving, you are not growing the wealth fast to beat your inflation. So now let's talk about something which silently affect all of us, as I told, inflation. Now, if you look at the left side of the slide here, there is a chart that shows how expenses rises over time. For example, an expense that costs 30,000 today will probably cost 40,000 in next 5 years. And if you go 15 or 20 years ahead, that same thing might cost 60,000 or even 80,000. That's more than double. And on the right side, if it gets more scary. It's about the value of saving. Let's say you save 1 lakh today, but if you don't invest it and just leave it sitting idle, inflation will reduce its value. In 5 years, it will worth only 80,000 in real terms, then 50,000 and after 15 years, and just 35,000 after 20. So basically, by the cost of thing goes up, your money purchasing power keeps going down. That's why saving is not enough anymore. You have to make your money grow faster than inflation. Otherwise, you will end up with less value, even if the numbers look big. That's why we say we don't just save, invest smartly. So, what's the solution for this? You can see the few steps. Like, first is start saving, and the earlier you start, the better. Like, even 500 monthly started earlier can do wonders over the years. Second, don't just save random. Make a financial plan. Think about your goals, timeline, and how much you will make. Third is, and this is important, don't let your money sit idle. Put your money to work, like whether in SIP, mutual fund, PPF, or stock, whatever it is. Just make your money is earning for you. Make sure your money is earning for you. Next, take advantage of compounding. It's basically earning interest on interest. The more time you give it, the stronger it becomes. That's the power of compound. And finally, shift your mindset from just saving to investing. Saving is safe, yes, but investing is what helps you grow well and beat inflation in the long run. So, yes, planning and investing together are like your financial toolkit to stay ahead of inflation. So, this is the financial pyramid. It looks complicated, but let me just figure it out. So at the bottom, we have the foundation. That's the financial plan. Without the base, everything else becomes shit. You need to have clarity about your income, expense, goals, insurance, etc. The next level includes basic protection like life insurance, disability insurance, will, power of attorney, and all the essential safety nets that protects you and your family. Then comes the personal care and saving. Things like emergency cash, debt repayment, savings for personal goals, and health care. This part makes sure you are ready for unexpected expenses or any financial shocks. Above that, we move into future focused goals, saving for home, retirement, children's education, or building market based portfolios. This is where real wealth begins to grow. And at the very top is speculative investing, high risk, high reward stuff like crypto, option trading, or startups. But remember, you should reach this level once all your lower levels are satisfied. So basically, start from the bottom and build your way up. Don't skip the steps. This pyramid reminds us that real wealth isn't built overnight. It's layered, secured, and then planned. So now let's talk a bit about us, the you. What do we really want? If you look at this, there's everything: a dream house, luxury cars, vacation, gadgets, cool bikes, gold, bikes, designer watches, etc. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with wanting a good lifestyle. But the question is, how do we afford all this? Are we earning enough to buy all of this without affecting our future? In most cases, what happens is we want all the things quickly, and that's where problem begins, especially if we don't have a plan. So yeah, wants are not the issue, but it's how we fulfill those wants that decide our financial health. Now, this is the trap. Like today, credit cards and EMI are super easy to get, right? Swipe now, pay later. But today, but by today, think tomorrow. We have all heard this slogan, right? And honestly, they are tempting. And let's face it, the system is designed to make us spend. You don't need to have the money. Just show a salary slip and you get a credit card. So what happens that you get stuck in a cycle of spending of EMI, taking loans, things that could wait, and relying too much on borrowed money. This habit of easy credit card money may look harmless in the beginning, but over a time it creates financial burden and reduce your ability to invest or save for the real. And this all leads to what? So the first thing is shortage of money. When it comes to actual things like education, marriage, buying a house, or medical emergencies. Second is we end up having a huge debt burden. EMIs for phone, bike, huge furniture, gadgets, it all get added and pile up. And then because everything is going into paying off debt, there is no surplus left to invest, which means our future becomes uncertain. So this person sitting in the image represents the exit feeling, stressed, confused, and dread. So that's why we see it's not about how much you earn, but how well you manage it. A smart financial plan can avoid all of this. So now let's begin with module one, which is Introduction to Financial Plan. So in simple words, financial planning is like creating a map for your money. Whether you are individual or a business, it helps to understand where you are right now financially and where you want to go. So the first step is reviewing your current financial situation, like your income, expense, debts, savings, and any assets you have. Once you know that, the next step is to build a strategic plan, a step-by-step approach that helps you reach your future financial goals. Whether it's buying a house, starting a business, retiring early, or having a peace of mind. It's focused on a few core areas like controlling your daily expenses, saving regularly, investing smartly to grow wealth, and protecting yourself from risk through insurance. So, yes, financial planning isn't just for rich or old. It's for anyone who wants to be in control of their money and build a secure future with confidence. So now let's talk about the objectives of financial planning. Like what's the real reason behind doing all of this planning with our money? So the first goal is to achieve short-term and long-term financial goals. Short-term goals could be anything like new buying a new phone, planning a vacation, or building an emergency funds in the next 6 months or a year. And long-term goals could be things like buying a house, retiring comfortably, or maybe funding for higher education. Financial planning basically helps you break these goals down and actually work towards them step by step. Now, the second objective is to manage your income, expense, and saving efficiently. Many times we earn money, but we don't really know where it's going. So, financial planning gives us a clear idea of how much we earn, how much we spend, and how much we are actually able to save at the end of the month. Mm. This kind of awareness helps us cut down on unnecessary spending and increase our savings automatically. The third point is relative is creating a roadmap for long-term financial security. What this means is imagine having a clear plan that tells you what you need to do today, this year, or in the next 5 years to feel financially safe in the future. It removes the fear of uncertainty. You know, you are taking the right steps to reach your bigger goals like retirement, children's education, or even financial freedom. And finally, the fifth point was to prepare for emergency through proper fund allocation. As we know that life is unpredictable, right? So financial planning makes sure you have a cushion to fall back, like an emergency fund or insurance. It helps you face unexpected medical costs or even a job loss. Like in Corona, many people face a job loss or they were not having a job or even a family crisis without falling into debt or panic. So yeah. In short, the main objective of financial planning is to bring more control, confidence, and peace into your financial life, both now and in the long run. So now we'll talk about the components of financial. First is budgeting. So now, budgeting is all about understanding who's incoming, how much money is coming in, and where the money is going. That sounds easy, but trust me, most people don't actually track this, and that's where the financial stress comes. Let's take an example. Suppose you earn 25,000 a month. If you don't track your expenses by the end of the month, you will be wondering where did all my money go? But if you budget, you know you are spending 10,000 on rent, 5,000 on food, 2,000 in subscription, and so on. This gives you control, and that control helps you avoid overspending, which is super important, especially if you are just starting your career or managing limited income. Also, budgeting helps you identify wasteful expense like unused subscription or impulse shopping, as we all do. Impulsive shopping. If you see any discounts or anything else, you just do impulsive shop and redirect that money into something meaningful. And all this money, we are using it on impulsive buying or unused subscription, we can redirect that money into something meaningful like saving or investing. The next is saving. And this is the foundation of financial security. Now, everyone might think that why save when we can invest? Well, both are important. That saving is the first line of defense. Like saving are like your financial cushion, as I told you earlier. Let's say your pipe breaks down, or there is a medical emergency, or even something simple like your phone stopped calling. If you don't have savings, you might end up borrowing or using your credit card, which creates more financial pressure. So it's always wise to build a small emergency fund, maybe 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, or even more, depending on your lifestyle. And remember, saving is not just a one-time event. It's about developing the habit. Even if you start with small amount like 50, 100, 500 a week or 2,000 a month, what matters is that you stay consistent. And once you have your saving in place, the next step is investing. Investing. Now, this is where to start making your money grow. So let's break it down. Like investing means putting your money into something that has the potential to grow its value over time. Hello. But when you invest, you're allowing that 1 lakh to possibly to 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs or more, depending on where and how long you invest. So investing helps you beat inflation. That 1 lakh might only be worth 17 real. But when you invest, you're allowing that 1 lakh to grow, as I told. So inflation helps to beat inflation. So investing helps to beat inflation, build wealth, and most importantly, achieve long-term goals like buying a house, planning a vacation, or even early retirement. Just remember, investing comes with some risk, so always do your research. Start with low risk options like mutual funds or diversified portfolio, not just jump into F&O, future and options, or total oil. These are the risky things to know. Next is insurance. This is the one of the most important thing that people ignore, but it's super important. Insurance is basically a financial safety net. It protects you and your family from unexpected situations like accidents, illness, or even death. There are different types of insurance, right? Life insurance, health insurance, motor insurance, and even term plans. So let me give you an example. Like suppose a person earns 50,000 a month and is the only breadwinner. If something happens to them and they don't have life insurance, the whole family faces a financial crisis. Same. So family, okay, retirement plan. So and now I know what everyone might be thinking. Why should I worry about retirement now? I'm just in my 20s. But that's exactly the point. The earlier you start, the easier it becomes. Retirement planning means making sure that when you stop working, your money doesn't stop working for you. Think of it this way right now. You earn and spend, but in your 60s and 70s, you might not have a regular income, and expenses, especially healthcare, are only going to increase. That's why it is important to start early. Even if you start with just 1,000 a month, just 1,000 rupees a month, okay, in a PF account or retirement fund. Thanks to compounding, as I told, it is a powerful and important tool. Thanks to compounding, that the small amount can grow into lakhs or even crores by the time you retire. And the best part is what? When you have planned your retirement, so now, all right. Now this slide is all right. Now this slide is all about understanding how financial priorities changes with age. So let's look at the first, the early career phase, which is typically our 20s to early 30s. This is when you are just starting out, maybe after college, getting our first job, freelancer, or starting a business. At this stage, the focus should be on building the basics, like learning how to budget properly so you don't overspend. Start saving consistently, even if it is small amount. And one more very important thing, build an emergency fund, as I told you all, because honestly, life is unpredictable. Whether it's job loss, health issues, or sudden expenses, and emergency funds give you the basics. Once you have that in place, start investing small amounts, like through SIPs or mutual funds that build the habit early and gives time for compounding to work with. Now the second phase, family years, which is mostly in your 30s and 40s. By this time, most people are married, may have kids, and responsibilities start increasing. So financial planning also becomes big more serious and goal based. The first big goal here is planning for your children education. Everyone knows that it's not cheap anymore. We also know that being an MBA is not cheap. It costs to 10 to 15 lakhs for 2 years. So that is not cheap anymore, like school fees, college tuition, coaching, etc. It all adds up. Starting earlier with the education fund or SIP really helps. The next is this is the time to definitely have life and health insurance in place as you are in your 30s and 40s. Not just for you, but your whole family. You have people depending on you now. So protection becomes non-negotiable. And finally, investing for long-term goals like buying a house, planning for retirement, or creating a strong investment portfolio. So yes, financial planning is not just one size fits all. It changes with your stage of life. And the earlier you start planning according to your age, the stronger your financial future. So the next two important life stages are starting with the middle life phase, which is usually covers your 40s and 50s. So by this time, most people have established on stocks, whatever suits your risk profile. Second is very important to clear major debts. If you have any debts, then you have to clear them, whether it's your home loan, car loan, or any big habit. Middle life is when you should try to reduce this as much as possible. Because once you enter retirement, you don't want to carry forward any financial baggage. And the third point begins seamless retirement. Yes, you may have already started, but now it's time to really plan it properly. Think about how much you will need per month after you retire. Factor in inflation and start investing more in retirement specific instruments like NPS, PF, BPF, and workshop. Now, finally, let's talk about the last phase, retirement, which is typically in your 60s and beyond. At this point, the goal is not to grow wealth aggressively anymore. It's more about preserving wealth and ensuring stability. So, here's what matters most in this stage. First, ensure you have a stable post-retirement income. This could come from pension, annuities, fixed deposits, or income from investment, like dividend or rental property if you have. So the idea is that even without a regular job, your money keeps flowing in and support your lifestyle. Second is maintain adequate health and medical coverage. Let's be honest that medical expenses tend to rise as we age. All and hospital bills can drain savings fast. So having solid health insurance with good coverage and lifetime renewability becomes super important. And finally, for estate in health homes, these means things like writing a will, making nomination in your bank, and investment accounts are clearly deciding who gets what. It helps avoid confusion or dismissal and ensures that your loved ones are financially secure. So yes, retirement isn't the end. It's a new phase of life, and with the right planning, it can be peaceful, independent, and fulfilling. Yes, we are starting with body too, and it's all about something that most of us deal with every single day: budgeting and expense management. So let's begin with basics. What exactly is budget? Budgeting is simply means making a plan for how you will use your income, like when your salary or money comes. Budgeting helps you decide look, how much you should go into savings, how much for daily expenses, how much for goals like traveling or buying something important. It brings clarity and discipline. Instead of wondering at the end of the month where all your money went, budgeting helps you keep every rupee a purpose. Second part, expense management. This is about keeping a check on your spending, making sure you are not crossing limits or buying things you don't really need. Like we all get tempted to order food online, shop impulsively as I do, or subscribe to random apps. And that's where expense management comes in. It reminds us, is this expense really necessary? Can I reduce it? So when you combine budgeting and expense tracking, it gives you something really powerful, financial control. You stop wasting money, you save more, and most important, you create space to invest in your goals. Whether it's buying your first car, traveling, starting a business, or saving for retirement, stop. It all starts here with knowing how to manage your money, smartly budgeting and tracking expenses. So now let's talk about something very important when it comes to managing your money, and that is understanding the different types of expenses. Why is it important? Because once you know what kind of expenses you have, you will know where to cut, where to save, and how to plan that. So the very first is fixed expense. Fixed expense are the most predictable ones. These are the bills that comes every month, and they are usually the same amount every time. Things like house rent, EMIs for meals, insurance premiums, schools or tuition fees. You can't avoid this, and you can't really reduce them quickly either. So when you make your budget, you always account for this. They are like the non-negotiable of the monthly spending. Second is discretionary expense. Now these are the bit more flexible. They change depending on your usage or behavior. For example, groceries, fuel, electricity, or water bills, daily essential or small shopping. These expenses can be managed better with smart plan. Like if you monitor your grocery list or reduce AC usage, your bills can actually come down. So yeah, they are essential, but they some room to adjust. The third is variable or lifestyle-based expenses. Now comes with the fun. Variable expenses also known as lifestyle expenses. These are usually non-essential and depend entirely on your choices. Things like dining out at restaurant, going to movies, buying branded clothes, vacations, or subscription, or impulsive buying. These are the first expense to cut down if you are trying to save money or manage a tight budget. We don't need them, but we all enjoy them, so it's fun to include them, but just in moderation. Last but not the least is emergency and unexpected expenses. And finally, these are the ones that hit without warning. For example, I told you like medical bills, sudden car or bike repair, urgent travel due to family emergency, home appliance breaking, etc. This can totally mess up your monthly budget if you are not prepared. And that's why we always build an emergency fund. Even saving just 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in a separate account can give you peace of mind when this thing counts. And once you start categorizing your expenses like this, it becomes so much easier to control your money, stick to your budget, and make smart decisions without stress. Uh, that we have understood the types of expenses, the importance of budgeting, the next step is to actually create your own personal budget. And trust me, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Just need a bit of time, honesty, and consistency. The very first is begin by listing all your expenses. So the first thing you need to do is sit down and think and write out every single expense from big ones like rent or EMIs to smaller ones like snacks, online subscription, coffee, or even cameras. And don't ignore the small stuff because they add up silently and make a huge difference in your monthly goal. You can note this down in a notebook, Excel sheet, or budgeting app, whatever works for you. The goal is to become fully aware of where your money is going. Second is choose a budget area. Once you have listed your expense, the next thing is to decide your budget size. For most people, a monthly budget works best, especially if you are salaried or receive income monthly. But if you prefer more frequent check-ins, you can also go for weekly budgeting. The key is to be consistent and pick a period that suits your cash flow. Third is use statements and digital tools. Now, don't rely only on memory. Most of us forget where small amount goes. So take some time to go through your bank statements, UPI history, or card transactions. If you're using apps like PhonePe, Google Pay, or Paytm, they show the exact spending data. There are also great apps like Wallet, MoneyView, or even Excel templates that can help you categorize expenses. This will help you identify your biggest spending categories and any problem areas. Fourth is Set spending goals for each month. Now that you know where your money is going, it's time to assign limits. So, for example, you can say, okay, 5,000 for groceries, 3,000 for travel, 2,000 for eating out, 1,000 for entertainment, and so on. Just make sure these limits are realistic based on your past spending habits. Don't cut too much food, otherwise it won't be sustainable. Now, fifth is match your expenses with your income. The most important reality check. Add up all your planned expenses and compare it with your monthly income. If your expenses are more than your income, then it's time to revise. You cannot plan a budget that overshoots slowly. That's not realistic and will only lead to debt or frustration. Your budget should always match or stay a little below your income. Now, if you are done spending more than you earn, the easiest way to balance it out is cutting down non-essential expenses. Like, as I told, ordering too often, impulsive buying on Amazon, as you just scroll your phone, and if you think that you like this thing, you just buy it impulsively. Subscription you never uses, you frequent cab rides when public transport is available. These are the first place to trim down. You don't have to stop completely, but reduce them so your budget can. Next is track your spending health. Creating a plan is one thing. Sticking to it is another. As we know, whenever we study, we just create a timetable, but not sticking to, and then not sticking to it is very easy. So make sure you track your expenses regularly. You can update an Excel sheet once a week, use the budgeting app that sends you alerts, or even write it down in notebook, whatever works for you. The idea is the more aware you are, the less likely you are to overspend. A. Review and adjust every. And finally, review your budget every. Your life isn't static. Maybe your rent increases, or even you take on a new EMI, or your salary changes. So your budget should evolve with. Every month, take 15 to 20 minutes to check where you overspend, adjust any unrealistic categories, and set up a fresh plan for the next. This small habits can completely change your financial mindset over the time. So yes, creating a personal plan isn't about just being perfect. It's about being aware, being honest with your money habits, and making small changes that add up to big results. When you follow these 8 steps, you will slowly build control, confidence, and clarity in how to handle your money. And that's the first big step towards financial success. So you got an idea on how to create a personal plan. So now understand the 50, 30, and 20 rule. This rule, this rule is honestly such a helpful starting point if you don't know how to divide your income. Breaks down your monthly income into three easy categories. So you know exactly how much to spend, save, and enjoy. That's great. So the very first is 50% needs. So the first category is needs, which should take up around 50% of your income. These are the things you absolutely have to pay for. They are essentials for survival and basic functioning. Example includes rent or house loan, EMIs, grocery and kitchen items, utility bill like electricity, water, Wi-Fi, transport, fuel, or public travel, etc. Now, the idea here is that half of your income should comfortably cover these needs. If it's crossing 60 to 70%, then that's a signal to adjust somewhere. Maybe downsize rent or cut other fixed costs. The next is 30%. We have is sports. This is where the fun comes. This category takes about 30% of your income and it includes dining out or ordering food, entertainment like movies, concerts, Netflix, etc. Travel and vacation, shopping for clothes or gadgets. Basically anything that's not essential but adds joy to you. Now, here is a small tip. People often confuse phones with names. Like, yes, a phone is a name, but the latest iPhone, that's a phone. So when budgeting, we so when budgeting, we need to be a bit honest with ourselves in this schedule. The last is 20%, the most powerful category, saving and debt, with- which should be at least 20% of it. This is your wealth building zone. Here's where you put your money in investments, SIP, mutual funds, stock, etc. Emergency fund, money set aside for sudden needs, low repayments, like clearing a credit card, personal loan, or educational loan. The goal is to consistently save and reduce debt. So over time, your money starts moving forward. So let's give an example. As we have understood the concept of 50-20-30-30-20 rule, let's make it even more practical by looking at the real numbers. Let's say your earning is 30,000 per month after tax. This would be your salary or monthly income from anything like freelancing or part-time. Now, here's what that 30,000 will be split using the 50-30-20, 50% more. That comes to 15,000. The first we are looking at 50% of 50,000, which is 15,000 as I do for names. The must pay essential, like how it can look like rent, maybe the 8,000 grocery bill, 2 to 3,000 transport 3,000, and utility comes to 2,000. Utilities as this can include your electricity, Wi-Fi, phone bill, and water bill, etc. These are all non-negligible, as you know. You need a roof over your head, food to eat, and basic services to survive and function. So this part of your budget is mostly fixed each month. Next is 30,000, which is what? So it comes to 9,000. Now remember, wants are the things that add and comfort and lifestyle value, but they are non-essential. Here's simple breakdown. Eating out 2,000 rupees, like shopping for 2,000 or 2,500 something. OTT platforms, entertainment comes to around 1,500 to 2,000, and traveling comes to around 3,000 rupees, as we all do parties and everything on weekend. This section helps you enjoy your money without guilt, as long as you stay within limit. And the best part is, if you ever want to save more, this is the area you can adjust first. Next is 20% savings, which comes to around 6,000. So here's how you can be divided. First is you can do SIP, which is systematic investment plan for 2 to 3,000. This helps your money grow over time with compounding. Next is emergency fund, the most important thing, which comes to around 2,000 to 3,000. Slowly building a fund to handle any any surprise expenses. The last is loan payment, which comes to around 1,000. This could be paying off a small education loan, credit card bill, or even a personal loan. This section is what sets you up for a stable and secure future. And if you stick to it regularly, you will slowly start to reach real wealth. So the 30, so the 50-30-20 rule makes budgeting feel less restrictive and more realistic. You don't have to cut out enjoyment. You just plan it smart. So now, okay, let's now understand the real importance of investing. Not just in theory, but with actual terms. We have all thought start early, save regularly, investments early. But this shows why that matters. But the very first is and child education. The very first one says that child education in India is inflating at 8,000 crore. So this actually I was speaking, I didn't know that the night is. So the third point is now if you start investing 3,550 per month at the age of 35, you can get an annuity of 3,333 per month, starting at the age of 50. Assuming 8% annuity rate, 15% return on. So even if you feel like, oh, I'm already 30 years, I have missed first. Also, we still have time to build a strong retirement. But yes, you may need to invest a bit more or aim for slightly higher. And for this, another example, if you want earn 50 lakhs in 20 years, you will need to invest around 5 or more at 12.5% per 5 million. This is such a powerful way to look at investment. Just take your goal, break it down, and see how much you need to invest per month to reach it. It takes the guesswork out and gives you clarity. So change your mindset. Income minus expense and income minus expense is equals to savings should become income minus savings is equals to expense. This is maybe the most important mindset shift on the end. As we think. Most of us think I'll spend what I need and then I'll save what's right. But that's the problem. There's never much left. Instead, if you flip it and say, I'll save and invest first and then manage my expenses with confidence. That's when you start taking real control of it. This is called paying yourself first and in the end. And it's a golden tool for building life. So yes. This ladder isn't just about numbers, it's about showing you that time is your biggest enemy. Consistency matters more than income level. Small monthly investments can lead to new financial freedom. And also, changing how you think about saving can completely change your life. Just start now, even if it's just with a month. Because 1 year from now, you will be so glad that you did this. Let's talk about the practical tools that make this process super easy and even kind of fun. Because let's be honest, it's not always easy to keep a notebook or update Excel sheets every day, right? That's where budgeting apps comes in. So here are the three popular apps that you can start using today to manage your money better. The very first is Warrior. This is the perfect if you don't want to manually enter your expenses every time. It auto tracks your expenses by putting the expense alerts from banks, UPI apps, and products. So it's basically does the hard work for you. It also shows your spending in visual categories like food, shopping, bills, etc. So you can quickly see where most of your money is going. And one more thing is, it sends split payment reminders so you don't waste periods for doing electricity credit cards. It's super helpful for anyone who wants budgeting to be more automated and less time consuming. The second is money, which is great if you prefer manual control over expense. It's super simple and user friendly, and you can add expense with just a tap. It organizes your spending into color coded categories like grocery, transport, dining, etc. Plus, even supports multiple currencies, which is great if you travel or work with international payments. So, if you like the clean interface and don't want entry for expense manually, Monify is a good choice. The third is Good Budget, and this one is based on the old school envelope method. So basically, you assign money into digital envelopes for each category, like 5,000 for rent, 3,000 for food, 1,000 for shopping, etc. And once that envelope is empty, you stop spending in that category. It's great for planning monthly budgets in advance. And the best part is, it syncs across multiple devices, which means couples or family can manage their shared expenses together. So if you're married or sharing finances, this app is super helpful for joint. All right. So moving ahead, we have talked about mobile apps like Walmart and Verify. Let's not forget that there are other tech tools beyond mobile apps that can really help for the journey of finances. These are tools that offer a little more flexibility, control, and detail, especially if you prefer working on a laptop or want deeper insights. The very first is Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. Let's start with the class. Excel or Google Sheets. Now, I know it might feel old school compared to app, but trust me. Excel is still one of the most powerful budgeting tool out there, especially if you want a complete control over how your budget looks and works. You can create your own budget templates like monthly, weekly, or even goal based. Add formulas to auto calculate savings, expense to expense totals, and investment goal. Use charts and graphs to visualize your spending, like pie chart for categories or bar graph for monthly tracking. And the best part, Google Sheets So if you are someone who wants to learn while managing money, this website give you both the knowledge and the tools to start with. The third is bank apps like HDFC, SBI, Paytm, payment banks, etc. Most bank these days, whether it's HDFC, SBI, ICICI, etc., offer built-in features like spending analysis by category, monthly summarize of your debit and credit card usage, instant transaction alerts, and even reminders for due payments. Some even let you set monthly spend limits or give you nudges when you are crossing your budget in certain areas. It's all in one place, secure, updated in real time, and directly linked to your meaning. So yes, managing your money isn't limited to just us. Whether you like working on Excel, doing financial tools on website, or using your bank apps features, there is a tool for every type of use. The tool is simple. Track smarter, save better, and invest wisely. Find the tool that works best for you and your comfort level and stick to it. Because when you start tracking, you automatically start improving. So now we'll go to module three, which is understanding investment options. So before we dive into different types of investment, let's start with the most basic question. What is investing? What is investing? In simple words, investing means putting your money into something that has the potential to grow over time. You're not just letting your money slide, sit idle. You're using your money to make more. And this is super important because just saving money in a bank account might not be enough to beat inflation. As I told you, earlier, inflation was eating up all your savings and spending. For example, if inflation is rising at 67% every year, but your savings are earning just 3 to 4%, you're actually losing its value over the time. That's where investing comes in as I keep on learning to help you grow your wealth faster than inflation. Let's take a look at the little flow diagram. Once sums up really good. First is you start with money, you put it into assets like stock, mutual funds, gold, property, etc. You give it a time, you don't expect instant results for that, and finally your bond returns, either through profit, interest, or capital restrictions. Investing is like planting a seed, as I showed you before in very first slide. You water it, you wait, eventually it grows. It's something very valuable, but yes, it takes patience and consistency. Why should we invest is like to grow your wealth for a long term, to achieve your financial goals like buying a home and etc. And most importantly, to begin inflation as I keep on telling. Inflation is the catch. Why should we want to invest? as I'm talking. We all work, I mean, we all work so hard to earn money, right? But here's the thing. It's not just about working for money. It's about making sure the money works for us too. Because if our money just sits there doing nothing, then we're missing out on the real. So next, why do we invest? We invest into our future need, whether it's retiring comfortably, buying a home, educating our kids, or just living without financial stress. Investing is not made all that possible. Now, where does the investment money even come from? It can come from assets we already own, like property, gold, real estate, insurance, etc., or from borrowed money in some cases. But if you know, that comes with risk. But most commonly, it comes from our feelings, and that's the thing. We save money today by cutting back on our some spending, and instead of just letting that money like item, we invest it to grow. And third point is the concept of forward consumption. Now, there's a phrase on this. I want to highlight that forward consumption. What does that mean? It simply means choosing not to spend today so that we can have more options in future. So when you say no to that extra shopping spree or expensive gadgets and instead invest that money, you're not losing out. You're just prioritizing future gains over expectations. That man, this man, this mindset shift from short-term satisfaction to long-term wealth is what separates a hard work from a smart investor. As everyone sees that आज के लिए जीना है कल के लिए क्यों सोचना then we will this is the very wrong thing we call our. So let's take an example. Let's say instead of spending 2000 on weekend take out every week, you decided to invest in a monthly in an SI. Over 20 to 25 years, that small amount could turn into lakhs of dollars. Enough for a down payment on a house, a dream vacation, or early retirement. So you are not really sacrificing anything. You are actually buying financial freedom with that decision. So yes, investment planning is not just about throwing your money. It's about planning a life where you have more choices, more freedom, and more peace of mind. It's about making sure your money works as hard as you. And that's why every person, no matter how much they earn, should have a clear investment plan. So we got to know that why investment planning is important. Then let's explore the actual options available for us. There are different ways you can invest your money, and each comes with its own benefits, risk, and goals. Let's go through one map. First up, we have stocks, also called shares. When you buy a stock, you're basically buying a small piece of a company. So if the company does well, you benefit from its growth, either through an increase in the stock price or through dividend. Stock, stocks have high growth potential, which is why they can give amazing returns in the long run. But yes, they also come with higher risk because prices can go up and down based on market conditions, company performance, or even global news. So stocks are great for building wealth, but you need to be a bit patient and ready to handle some ups and downs. The second one is mutual funds. So Yes, mutual funds is very perfect for beginners. Your money, so here your money is pooled together with other investors and managed by a professional fund manager. They invest this money that which is your money into a mix of assets like stocks, bonds, or gold, depending on the fund type. So you get diversification, expertise, and flexibility without having to manage everything on your own. If you are a beginner and you don't know where to invest, then there comes mutual fund, which is handled by a expertise who can invest your fund and help you to grow. It's ideal if you want to invest in the stock market but don't have the time or experiences like go to pick an individual stock. Mutual fund is best for that. The third is SIP, that is systematic investment plan. As it shows, systematic investment. Like it simply means investing a fixed amount every month. That is systematic fixed amount every month. Like if you're taking a plan of 500 per month or 1000 per month or anything, you have a fixed amount every month. It's one of the best way to build wealth slowly and steadily. You don't have the time you don't have to time the market like you don't have any time. So it's just the best thing. You stay consistent and your money benefits from compounding and rupee cost averaging. So SIP is like setting a monthly financial habit, and the earlier you start, the bigger the reward. The next is bonds. These are fixed income instruments, which means they are more stable compared to stocks. When you have when you buy a bond, you're basically lending money to a company or the government, and they agree to pay you back with interest after a certain time. So they are safer than stocks and are good if you want regularly predictable returns. Think of a bond like an IOU. You give money now and get it back with the interest later. Now continue to the next slide, which is same PPF. PPF means Public Provident Fund. Is one of the most trusted investment option in India. It's backed by the government. You can invest in it through your banks or post office. The lock-in is long, 15 years, but it offers tax-free returns, stable interest, and safety. If you are someone who wants a secure long-term plan, especially for retirement or a child's future, PPF is a great choice. The next is gold. Gold has always been traditional favorite in Indian households. But now it's not just about buying jewelry. You can invest in gold digital, like in digital gold, like gold ETFs or gold bonds, which are safer, easier to store, and offer much better returns. Gold is great for hedging against inflation, and it also adds balance to your portfolio when stock markets are volatile. Last but not the least is real estate. Buying physical assets like land, flats, or commercial spaces. It's a long-term investment, usually for capital appreciation and rental income. The entry cost is higher, is like 1 crore, 2 crore, or even 50 lakhs, 90 lakhs. It's higher than usual, but like you need a bigger lump sum to get started, and it can take time to sell. Like if sometimes it doesn't sell, and sometimes it takes time to sell. But it's considered stable and property value generally rise over time, especially in growing areas. So you have to think about it where you want to take your land or flats or anywhere. Take it in a growing area where people will come to rent your house or something. So that is a good thing. So as I told you, all the best options. There is not a single best options. Like all are the best, but not according to you. It really depends on you, your goals, your income, and your risk capacity, and how long do you want to invest. Some investment grow fast but have more risk, like stock and SIP. Others are slow and steady, like PPF and bonds. A good a good investment plan usually includes a mix of both, based on your needs. Okay. So now let's talk about something really important. It's not just about investing your money, it's about making sure that your investment is working for you, as I keep telling you again and again. Because here's the thing, not all investment are equal. Just putting money somewhere isn't enough. Your investment should actually help you reach your financial goal. So, your investment should be doing all these things for you. The very first is flight, uh, sorry, fight inflation for you. As I keep on telling, your investment should help you beat the inflation. We have talked about this before, like prices of goods and service keep rising every year. If your money just sits in a saving account earning 3%, but inflation is 6%, you're actually losing money in real terms. That's why you need to invest in assets that grow faster than inflation. Mutual fund, SIP, equity, all these things. This help you preserve and grow your purchasing power. The second is provide income where you need it, especially during the times when you need it the most, like monthly pension income during retirement, rental income from real estate, interest income from bonds. So your portfolio should include income generating assets based on your life stages and goals. Third is be accessible and usable in parts. Let's say you suddenly need money for a medical emergency or travel. If all your money is locked in a property or a long-term plots with penalties, you will be stuck. As I told you, they take long term to get the returns. So there is the long term investments like land and all are not liquid capital. We can't liquidate suddenly. We need time for that, right? So that's why you need some investment that can be broken down into parts, like broken down or can get liquid into cash instantly, like mutual fund or fixed deposit. So you can withdraw only what's needed without disturbing the whole plan. Fourth is grow in value over time. Of course, your investment should appreciate in value. This means over the year, the value of your investment should rise, either because of market growth, interest, dividend, or capital appreciation. This is how wealth is created. The idea is you invest rupees 1 today, and in 10 to 15 years, it becomes rupees 3 to 5 or even more, depending on the assets. And lastly, your investment should be easy to convert back to money without losing a big chunk in fees or taxes. So, for example, if you invest in stocks or mutual funds, you should be able to sell it at a fair market price. Okay. So let's talk about the golden rule of investing, which is diversification. You have probably heard the phrase, don't put all your egg in one basket, right? That is, don't put all your egg in one basket, right? Well, that's exactly what diversification means in finance. So, what is diversification? So, basically, diversification means spreading your investment across different types of assets instead of putting all your money into just one place. Why? Because if one investment doesn't do well, the others can balance it out. Let me give you a quick example, okay? Let's say you invested all your money in real estate. Now suddenly the property market crashes or it takes years to sell. You are stuck, right? But if you had invested in mix of real estate, mutual fund, gold and bonds, you wouldn't feel the impact as badly because some of them would still be doing well. So diversification might help you manage risk and sleep better at night, honestly. Next is asset classes to diversify. Now, how do you actually diversify? Here are some common asset types you can spread your money across. Stock, the very first thing, which have higher risk, of course, but it gives you higher return potential. The second is mutual fund and SIPs. Mutual funds are managed by the expertise. So they also have the risk. I'm not telling that they don't have the risk, but this are managed mix of stock and bonds. The next is bonds. Bonds are stable income, as you know, and it has lower risk. Next is gold, hedge against inflation, which will help you when there is a great inflation. The next is real estate, long-term growth and long-term income keep on coming. Cash and FDs like they are quickly accessible and are safety. By building a balance mix, you protect yourself from one market ups and downs, affecting your entire financial life. The next is goal of diversification. Now, here the key. The goal of diversification is not just to avoid losses, but also to ensure you get steady returns even when markets are uncertain. Okay. Let's say the stock market is going through a rough phase as now. And in in 2020, in the Corona period, there was a rough patch, right? If you are also invested in gold and bonds, they might perform better during that time, right? Keeping your portfolio stable. So it's like financial team where all your investments support each other, especially in tough times. So yes, the in this the takeaway is simple. Don't rely on just one investment type. Spread your money across different assets and build a portfolio that can handle market ups and downs without stressing you out. Diversification is not just about avoiding risk completely. It's about managing it wisely. Okay, in next slides, we'll see how you can actually create such portfolio-based elements. Now, let's talk about the diversification and the type of it. The type of diversification. The very first is asset class diversification. This is the most basic and common one. It means investing in different categories of assets like stock, equity for growth, bonds for stability, gold for inflation protection, real estate for long-term wealth and rental income, and even some cash-based option like fixed deposit or saving accounts for liquidity, for quick liquidity. The idea here is if one asset class underperforms, the others can make up for it. So your overall wealth stays protected and balanced. The second is geographical diversification. This one getting more attention these days. Like it simply means investing in both domestic and international markets. So while you may invest in Indian companies or mutual funds, you will also consider international mutual funds or global ETFs that give you exposure to companies in the US, Europe, or emerging markets. So why is this useful? Because different economies grow at different times, right? Like if one country's market is down, another might be booming. So this gives you global stability and growth opportunity. The third is sectorial diversification. Now, this is within the stock market or mutual fund space. It means you don't invest only in one industry or sector. Instead, you spread your investment across tech, pharma, FMCG, banking, energy, infrastructure, and more and more. Why? Because no single sector performs well all the time. For example, tech might boom this year, but pharma might take off the next year. Like right now, the tech is not working, right? If you know, the tech companies are not doing good right now. and there are many unemployed people in tech companies. So by having a mix, you reduce the risk of one sector taking your whole portfolio down. Okay. Then fourth one is instrument diversification. This is about how you invest. You can diversify between SIP, lump sum, ETF, fixed deposit, etc. SIP is for consistent monthly investing. Lump sum is when you have extra fund or during market corrections. ETS means exchange trade funds, which gives you market-wide exposure at low cost, and fixed deposit or recurring deposits for safely predictable returns. Each instrument has its own purpose and benefits, and mixing them allows you to balance risk and liquidity based on your needs. Now, let's talk about the most exciting and commonly talked about investment option. That is, that is stocks. You have probably heard people say, I have invested in stock market or I bought shares of this company, that company. So if you buy a share of Reliance or Tata Motor, you literally own a portion of Reliance or Tata Motor. You literally own a portion of that one. Even if it is a small percentage, you don't just own the company's asset. You also share its profit and losses. And that's when they give you the dividend. So how do you earn from the stock, right? There are two main ways investors earn money from the stock. The very first is capital gains, and second is dividend, as I do. In capital gains, this is when the price of the stock goes up over a time. Let's say you bought a stock of rupees 100 and later you sell it for 100. That 50 rupees is the profit in your capital. The next is dividend, which is profit sharing. Some companies share their profits with shareholder by giving out a portion of earning regularly, usually every quarter or year. So if you hold certain stocks, you might receive extra cash in form of dividend, kind of bonus, which you get in your salary or your job. So yeah, stock can be a great source of growth and wealth. What about volatility? Now here's the honest. Stock prices don't stay stable. Right now, the stock market is just not stable at all, as you all know. They go up and down daily. So, okay. So ideal for so who should invest in stocks? Who is Well, long-term investors who are okay with a little bit of risk in a short run, because over time stock tends to grow significantly. If you're someone who are just starting out, you might want to begin with mutual funds or SIP and slowly move into direct stocks once you are more confident. So, in simple words, stock equals to ownership plus growth opportunity. Yes, they come with risk, but they also offer some of the highest return with help patiently and wisely. The types of stocks. As we talked about the types of diversification, now we will talk about the types of stocks. Because not all stocks are same, right? They have different categories, different level of risk, and they have some different investment goals. The very first is blue chip stocks. These are the stocks of big, well-established companies that have been around for a long time. Think of the companies like Infosys, TCS, HDFC Bank, Reliance, etc. These companies are known for their strong financial performance, their stable growth over many years, regular dividend payouts, and the lower risk compared to smaller companies. So the blue chip stocks are like safe zone in the stock market. They might not give super high returns quickly, but they offer stability and reliability, especially during tough market conditions. Ideal for a long-term, low-risk investors. The second is growth stock, and these are exciting. These are the shares of the company that growing faster than the average, like a tech startup, emerging industries, or fast scaling ahead. Because they are expanding rapidly, their stock price also tend to go up, which means high return potential, right? Um, but here is the catch. Since these companies are still growing, they might not pay dividends. So, as I told that the growth stock not pay dividends, be more sensitive to market changes, and also carry a high risk if they don't meet growth expectations. So growth stock are best for investors who are okay with taking a bit of risk in return for potentially high reward. The next is dividend stock. Now let's talk about it. That the stocks that pay out a part of their profit to shareholders regularly as in dividend, usually in quarterly or yearly. It's like getting a reward for holding stock, right? These companies may not grow super fast, but they are usually profitable and financially strong. They are like to share their success with investors. Dividend stocks are great for the people who want a steady stream of income, especially after retirement or for passive cash. So, if you want regular return and less volatility, dividend stocks are a good fit. The last, but not the least, is the penny stocks. And no, that doesn't mean that they cost just 1 rupee, but they are usually low price stock of small companies. These companies are often new, unknown, or in recovery, and their stock are very cheap, which also makes them very risky. But and this is why people get tempted. If a penny stock companies grow big, it can give massive return. Still, they are super unpredictable and very easy to lose money on. So penny stocks are only way very experienced investors or people who can afford to take a purchase. Now let's clear up one of the most common confusion when it comes to investing. Should I, which is risk and risk. The risk is the chance of your investment's actual return may be different from expected return. It could be lower or even a loss. And the return. The profit or gain you earn from the investment over a time is called, it can be in the form of interest, dividend, or capital. High risk, high return, as I told, in the stock which give high return, they have the highest risk. And low risk, low return, as I told, the fixed deposit, which have the low return, or PPF, which have the low return, but they also have the low risk and are safe. Next is market link returns or guaranteed return. Everyone think that should I go for market return or guaranteed return? So in this slide, we are going to understand the difference between these two and also figure out which one might suit you better, depending on your goals and comfort with risk. Let's start with the market return first. These are investment where your returns are not fixed. They depend on how the market performs. For example, stocks, mutual funds, ULIPs, NPS. In these cases, your money is invested in equity, debt, or a mix of it, and the values go up and down based on the market. Now, the advantage here is if the market perform well, you get a very high return, even 10 to 12% or more annually over time. But the risk is also higher because if the market dips, your return may reduce or even go negative in a short term. So this type of return is ideal for long-term investors, especially young people who can afford to take the risk and wait out market fluctuation. Next is guaranteed returns. Now let's take a look at that. These are investment where the return is promised or fixed from the beginning. So no matter what happens in the market, you get what was confirmed, committed in the example is PBF, as I told, public provident fund, fixed deposit, NSC, that is National Savings Certificate, endowment plans, post office schemes, etc. These are perfect if you want stability and safety. The returns are lower, usually in the 6 to 7% range, but you also don't have to worry about losing your money. That's why guaranteed return products are more popular among the retired individual or people who don't have any tension with ups and downs. Let's take a quick compare the two side by side. Okay. First is risk. In market linked, it is high, as I told, and guaranteed it is very low. The second is return. So in market link, as I told, that return can be high, but with risk. And in guaranteed, usually it is low. Flexibility more in market link and guaranteed may unlimited, limited risk. Flexibility is limited. Ideal for a long-term investors. The market linked is long-term investors and ideal for retirees, risk averse individuals for guaranteed. Examples for market linked stocks, SIPs, ULIPs, etc. And for guaranteed, it is FTs, PPF, NFCs, and government plan exit. Next is real estate planning, which is very important, and people tend to think about it a little too late, and that's real estate planning. So, what is estate planning and why does it matter? First, the word estate doesn't just mean real estate or a farm. In the financial term, your estate is everything you own, real property and personal property. So your estate includes real property like land, houses, flats, or commercial property, and personal property like cars, jewelry, bank accounts, investment, household items, and even the things like furniture or digital assets. Basically, your assets in a total sum of your assets before they are passed on to your family or legal heirs. What is estate planning? Now, estate planning is the process of organizing how all of this property will be distributed after your death. It's done through legal tools like a will, trust, or nomination. The goal is simple. Make sure that your assets go to the right people without disputes, delays, or unnecessary taxes. You decide who gets what, when they get it, and how they get it. For example, in lump sum or through a trust over time. Why is this important? Because let's be honest, okay? We all work so hard to build a set, buy a house, grow savings, but if we don't plan how this will be transferred, it can cause a lot of confusion, right? And legal issues for our loved ones later. Without proper planning, families can end up in legal battles. Your children might not get access to money when they need it, or the government might decide who gets what, not you. Estate planning ensures peace of mind both for you and for your family's future. So, in short, your estate includes everything you own. As I told, estate planning is how you legally decide what gets what after you are gone, and it helps avoid confusion, fights, and delays and ensure your legacy is protected. And also, you don't have to be super rich to create an estate plan. Even if you just have few assets like a small house, a fixed deposit, and a saving account, you should still make a basic will or nominate your highest property. So now let's talk about let's take a closer look at why estate planning is such an important part of a financial planning. Because let's face it, okay, most of us focus on earning and growing our wealth, okay, but very few of us actually plan what happens to that wealth after we are gone. So the slide, which is present in here, will talk about why people invest in estate plan. What are the real reasons behind it, and how it helps you and your family. First, everyone has their own reason. Now, everyone might have personal reason to invest in an estate plan, but usually they fall into four broad categories. The very first is appreciation. People want their real estate or investment to grow in value over a time. For example, buying a property at 30 lakhs today that could become 1 crore in 20 years. Through estate planning, you ensure that these appreciated assets goes to the right person, your spouse, children, or any higher without legal hassle. The second is cash. Some people invest in estate planning to ensure a steady source of income for their family, like rental income from a property or returns from a fixed deposit. Planning ensures that this cash flow doesn't get blocked or misused and reaches the right person at the right time. The third is leverage. Estate planning helps you use your existing assets like land or mutual funds to raise funds, take loans, or even set up a trust for future generations. So you're basically using what you already own, secure a stronger financial future for your loved ones, both in the middle classes, tax benefit. And of course, smart estate planning can make also help you save on taxes, both while you're alive and for your hires after you are. Certain tools like trusts or joint ownership can help avoid heavy tax burden. Okay. Now let's look at some very practical and emotional reasons behind estate planning. The very first is protect your family's future. Probably the most important reason of all. That is to protect your family. Okay. When you plan your estate, you are making sure that your money, your houses, your investment all goes to the people you actually intend. This avoids confusion and ensures financial security for your family, especially if something unexpected happens. Second is prevents family disputes over money or effort. We have all heard stories where family break apart over a property dispute, right? If there is no will or clear plan, arguments and legal fights can go on for years. Estate planning helps avoid all that. It brings clarity and makes sure everyone knows your exact issues. Next is minimize legal hassles or delay. Without an estate plan, your assets go through a long legal processes like probate, and that can take another months or even a years. During this time, your family might not be able to access money, even for emergencies. Proper estate plans, like having a will or trust, can skip all that legal delay and ensure smooth, fast transfer of assets. So yes, this is fine. The next will continue is reduce tax lag. Now, one of the major reasons, especially for people with large assets, is tax lag. With smart asset planning, you can legally minimize the amount of tax that your heirs have to pay on your property or investment. For example, in some countries or higher value estates, inheritance tax or estate duties can take away a big chunk of your wealth. But if you plan it up correctly, using tools like trust, gifts, or joint ownership, you can protect the money and keep more of it within your family. So you're not just passing on assets, you are passing them on efficiently. Second is continues your financial legacy. Estate planning is also a way of continuing the good work you have done financially, even after you are gone. Think about it. The investment you make today can fund your child's education in the future, supports your spouse after retirement, or even go towards cause your care about like a charity, NGO, or religious organization. It's not just about the wealth, it's about values and mission. You are making sure that your money keeps making an impact even beyond your lifetime. Last, just take care of people. This is really emotional but critical. Reason. If you have young children, elderly parents, or disabled family members who depends on you financially, you absolutely must have an estate plan. Because let's be honest, life is unpredictable. Estate planning ensures that these loved ones are taken care of financially, even if something were to happen to you. You can assign guardians, allocate specific funds, or even set up the trust so that they don't have to struggle or rely on you. So, yes, estate planning is a way more than just a paper. It's your way of saying that you have taken care of your responsibility, you have secured your family's future, and you are leaving behind something that truly matters. Whether it's to reduce taxes, protect dependence, or leave a legacy. Investing in estate planning is a top, powerful decision. Okay, so this slide is about estate planning, but it actually focuses on more on understanding the broader economic side. which is super important when planning for wealth or asset. As you can see, the diagram is shaped like clock, and it's basically showing how different economic indicators move in cycle over time. If we start at the top, like at 12 o'clock, we are in the boom phase. This is when real estate planning prices are start rising. The economy is doing really well and money is flowing east. So people feel confident, investments are up, and things look pretty positive overall. Now, as we move clockwise, say around 1 to 2 o'clock, mm, we start to see rising interest rates, which usually happens when the government tries to cool down an overheating economy. And because of this, mm, share price start to fall, followed by a dip in commodity prices and overseas reserve. By the time we hit 3 to 5 o'clock, it's not looking so great. This is where the economy is going down. There is a gloom and corporate failure might start increasing. Money gets tighter, investors lose confidence, and real estate prices begin to fall. Then at 6 o'clock, we hit the bottom of the cycle. It's like the lowest point. Recovery is just beginning, but things still feel uncertain. This is when interest rate starts to fall again to help stimulate growth. Now, moving further, around 7 to 9 o'clock, we enter a phase of hesitation or uneven recovery. Like it's not fully blown optimism yet, but share prices and commodity prices starts to rise slowly. Then at around 10 and 11 o'clock, the economy gains momentum. We see rising overseas reserves and easier money conditions, which lead us back to strong recovery and finally another boom at 12 o'clock. So basically, this entire cycle helps us understand that when we make a certain estate planning decision, when to make a certain estate planning decision, right? So, for example, during the boom, you might want to think about asset protection or diversification. During the slump, maybe look like into restructuring or buying under the new asset. And yes, estate planning isn't just about writing a bill or passing down. It's about knowing the right time to make financial decisions based on the larger economy. So this visual really helps connect that idea that estate planning should adapt with economic changes, not just once, but continuously as the cycle moves. So now let's talk about one of the most popular industrial form of investment, and that is gold. For centuries, gold has been seen as a symbol of wealth, security, and value, right? But more than that, gold also play a very important role in the smart investment too, especially when things get uncertain. Why gold is important? So why do people, especially in India, love investing in gold? Well, gold is not just about jewelry or tradition anymore. It's actually a very strategic asset class. Gold acts as a hedge against inflation, meaning when price go up, the value what's- and the value of money falls, gold tend to hold or increase its value. And even during geopolitical tension, like war, economic slowdown, or financial crisis, gold usually perform well. That's because people see it as a safe haven and markets are shaking. Also, and this is gold is inversely correlated with equities. That means when the stock market goes down, gold usually go up or at least stay stable. So having some gold in your portfolio can balance out your risk, which is why financial planners recommend some gold operation along with the stock or mutual funds. Now, how can we actually invest in gold? Gone are the days when your only option was to buy physical gold. Now, there are multiple ways to invest in gold, and each has its own pros and cons. So let's break it down. The very first is purchasing of physical gold. That is a traditional method, right? Which is like gold coins, jewelry, or bars, etc. It feels tangible, but it comes with making charge, storage risk, and purity concerns. Also, it is not easy to sell instantly, and you might not get the full resale value. Still, many prefer it for culture and emotional reasons. Second is sovereign gold bonds. These are the government issued bonds, and they are actually one of the best ways to invest in. Here's why. You don't physically own gold, so no storages. You earn 2.5% interest per year or something on the top of gold price appreciation, and after 8 years, then subtracts. So it's secure, profitable, and backed by the top. The third is gold ETFs, exchange traded funds. ETFs are like mutual funds that invest in gold, but they are traded on stock exchange. You don't need to buy actual gold. Instead, you invest through the net account in digital form. It's easy to buy, sell, highly liquid, and reflects the real-time price of gold. Perfect for investors who want convenience or flexibility. The next is digital gold. This is a newer option. You can buy even with 10 worth of gold through apps like ATM, Phone Pay, or Google Pay. It's stored in secure vaults, and you can convert it into a physical gold later if needed. It's ideal for beginners who want to start smaller and build over time. So, to summarize this, gold is a safe, stable, and smart investment, especially during the uncertain times. It balances your portfolio and protects your wealth. You can invest in gold through physical form, gold bonds, ETFs, or digital goods, depending on your comfort. And remember, even a 10 to 15% allocation of gold can make a bigger difference in keeping your investment balance and reserve. Now, different ways, as I told, different ways. The very first is purchasing physical gold, as I told you, gold jewelry. That is something we are all familiar with. Buying necklaces, rings, bangles, and so on from the jeweler. It feels tangible, cultural, and emotional. But some of the things to watch out is making charges, purity, safety, etc. Second is gold coins and bars. A better alternative for investment to buy gold coins and bars. This can be purchased from jewelers or banks, and they are usually come with proper weight, purity, and certification. There are no making charges for jewelry like this. They are safer to store securely in lockers. The second is sovereign gold bonds. Sovereign gold bonds are issued by the RBI in batches, and they are linked to the market price of gold. Here's how they work. You invest in golds in terms of grams, say 10 grams of golds at the current market price. You earn 2.5% interest per year, as I told, value of investment, which is bonus. And at the end of the maturity period, that is usually after 8 years, you get the full market value of that gold, which is tax free. You can buy this gold bonds easily from banks, post office, or even online via stock exchange. So it's gold, but without the worries, storage, theft, or fear, and with the guaranteed interest. A really solid option for long-term plan. Third is gold ETF. Now, if you want something flexible, liquid, and online, gold ETF offer you. These are like mutual fund, but they track the price of gold. You can invest through demat account, like you usually invest your equities, that is shares, buy and sell just like you would do with stock, as I told. Get exposure to gold without actually holding it. You get the exposure, you get the gold, but you can't hold it. It is not tangible. It is a share. Gold ETFs may also include investment in physical golds, gold companies, or even gold mutual funds. It's perfect if you want convenience, transparency, and low charges. Fourth is digital gold, and finally, a newer but superior option for popular method, digital. This is a gold and it's purest digital. You can invest as little as 10 to 100 rupees right from your phone. How it works in It's simple. You buy gold online from the platform like Google Pay, PhonePe, etc. The company stores the exact amount of physical gold for you in a secure vault. And if you want, you can even take physical delivery later in the form of coins or bags. Digital goals is super easy to access, right? And especially great for young and the first time investor. Value of money is decreasing over time as I keep on staying over from the past 2 hours. So what 100 can buy today might only buy half as much 10 years from now. But gold tends to maintain its or increase its worth when inflation rises. So while other assets might lose value or give poor real returns, gold acts like shield, protecting the purchasing power of your wealth. That's why financial experts recommend keeping a small percentage of your portfolio in gold.